Hey everyone, what's up? Hope you're having a good weekend. Today, we're gonna fit these rings. I thought they were oversized rings. Most piston kits come with oversized rings that you file fit, but these are actually meant for 100.5 millimeter bore, which is what I have. So we're gonna put them in. We're gonna measure them, make sure they're right. Open them up if they need to be opened up. I've got the piston spec sheet right here, and the top and second ring gap is supposed to be 17 thousandths, which is a little tight, I thought. But then I got thinking, and I was like, this is an aluminum bore, so it's going to expand a lot more than a traditional iron bore or sleeve would. So I called and talked to Mike Lindsay, and he was like, yeah, 17, 18 thousandths is where you want to be. And he explained that, yeah, the block does grow a bunch because it is aluminum. So you're going to need feeler gauges, and I use one of these. It's just to push down the ring and so that you always have like the same depth, and it keeps the ring straight, or 90 degrees with the bore. So I'm going to keep these also. I'm also going to do 1, 2, and I'm going to match them to the bores. So compress it. Just put it in and use this to push it down. And feeler gauge, I'm going to start at 17 because that's what it should be, or about that. And that is way too tight. Alright, so the gap's about actually 10 thousandths, so I'm going to have to file this one. Alright, so there's 2 pins. Basically, you want to keep them on that pin, and then just file one side. You want to go slow so that you're not going to so I'm going to take this hand, I'm just going to keep pressure on the pins, and then though is to keep pressure on it and to keep it straight so you end up with a straight gap. If I can even show you. I don't know if you can see that or not. So wiped it off real quick, and then I'll put it back in. So now the 11 fits in there good. Try the 12. Did not. So I only opened it up about a thousandths. It's actually kind of a slow process. Like, you can easily get carried away and go too far. kind of understand how much you're taking off at a time, you can like speed up the process a little bit. Alright, we're almost there. It's about 16 thousandths right now. So you can go over. Like, you want to shoot for what you want to get, what your spec is. But it's better to be over than to be under, because if you're too under, then once the engine gets hot and thermal expansion starts to happen, they're going to seize up. So, but if you're over, they're not going to seize up. They just might not seat as well, or they just might not seal as well. There. You do want to make sure there's no burrs on the ring when you're done. Sometimes there'll be like burrs on the bottom of where you're filing. But yeah, that's how you do it. I'll just go ahead and do all the other ones so you can see. It takes time. just did one piston, or one cylinder. That's actually the first time I've ever had to file the oil rings, or the third ring pack. They were a little tight. So when you get done filing, you want to make sure that there's no burrs. I just use like some really high, like maybe 1,000 grit sandpaper and some oil, and just real light. Like you don't want to really like taper it, but you just want to make sure there's no burrs on it. These ones actually cleaned up pretty good. So that's one piston. So just take your time if you're gonna do it. Remember, under is no good. A little bit over is okay. As far as running it, if you're under, then it's possible it's gonna lock up and seize up because it'll be too tight. Another thing is the end gap recommendation for the top and second was the same. I actually took the second one to 18 thousandths so that it was a little bit bigger. That's just to help prevent any ring flutter from the first one. So if the second ring seals just as good as the first ring, then you can actually develop pressure in between your 1 and 2 rings, and it'll cause your top ring to flutter up against the bottom and top glands. You don't want that. So I mean, obviously there's different ways to deal with that. A second ring that doesn't seal as good can help reduce that. Just gapping it a little bit, the second one just a tad bit bigger will help with that. Typically, if you look at spec sheets, it'll just give you like a dimension. You'll times that dimension by your diameter of your bore, and that'll give you what the recommended gap is. Typically, it's like, as far as I've always seen it, the second ring is always a bigger gap, just to prevent flutter. After I get these 3 other cylinders done, I'm going to balance them, and I'll try and make a video about balancing them. Hopefully they'll be pretty close. I won't have to do much, but yeah. So that's the next video. Thanks for watching it all the way if you actually made it, and like, subscribe, send me a message, Thanks.